Hello guys, we are here with a fun new video of I've seen so many people on YouTube do this, a bunch of booktubers, my friend Kirsten, lots of people, but we're going to be doing the Instagram decides what I read video. So basically the way that it works, I already had to look at which book won because I'm filming on my phone, but basically the way this video works is I will take two pictures, or here's the picture, the original picture that I posted, okay? And then I scribbled over them with color, put little emojis on them, and based on what the book is about, and then had you guys vote on which one you want me to read next. Like a little secret surprise. Maybe some of you decoded it. Make sure you're following on Instagram in case I do this again. I don't know how long I'll be doing it. It depends. Some weeks I'll read like 5 books in 1 week. Some weeks I'll read approximately 0. So could be a week, could be a month. We'll see. But if you don't know, I read mainly thrillers. I try to read a thriller and then something else, a thriller and then something else, whether it's romance, literary fiction, autobiography, whatever. The one and only fantasy I've read, all the things. But with that being said, I just finished a thriller. So I popped up my two first of my other category, and we're just gonna get right into them. The 2 books that I picked was People We Meet on Vacation, and I colored over this one with green. I originally did it with orange, and then I thought it might just simply be too obvious, so then I did it in green because it's orange and green on the cover, and I put an airplane and like the mended heart emoji because this book is about Poppy and Alex, and they are like best friends, but then something happens. They always go on these like vacations together every summer, but then there's some sort of falling out, and then I think it's like a few years later she's like, listen, let's just get together one last time, like figure it out, whatever, and like mend the thing. 2 best friends, 10 summer trips, one last chance to fall in love. So this was option 1, and then this is by Emily Henry, and it is 360-ish pages, and then I put up Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler, and on this one I put a broken heart and like the UK flag, because this one is about a girl named Rory and Adelaide, and she is living in the American dream in London, and she meets a guy named Rory and they fall in love, but he's kind of like emotionally unavailable from what I'm getting. Like, is it enough? Does he respond to her texts, honor his commitments, make plans in advance, blah 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 blah. When love asks too much of us, how do we find the strength to put ourselves first? So it gave like a broken heart and London vibes. And when I posted it last night, this one was winning all night long. And I was kind of mad because I love Emily Henry, but this is the one I wanted to read because I'm kind of like a little bit sad girl right now. I thought it'd be a little cathartic to read a sad book. But it was very close, like 54 to 60 or 54 to 46. But somehow overnight, it switched, it flipped. And now the book I'm reading is gonna be Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler. Oh yeah, and I did this one pink because the whole book is pink. And I don't think really anybody talks about this. Haley Barbour talked about this, and this book is really, 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 really good, which is why, and I think I picked it up as like an add-on on Book of the Month. The like author page is so cute. It has like the little flowers around it, like the front of the book has. This one's under 300 pages, so it should not take me 290. It shouldn't take me very long to get through this. Maybe I'll get through it today. Who knows? But I do leave for Dallas tomorrow for a board game convention. And so next time you guys see me in front of the bookshelves, it'll be probably after I get back from Dallas, unless I finish this last night, because I don't need to leave here until 10:30 tomorrow. If I finish this today, I may like just take a minute and film a clip in the morning going over like the next poll, but it'll really depend. But as of right now, this is the book. We are gonna get started. I'm not gonna start it right now because it's Wednesday, and on Wednesdays I call my dad if you don't know, I used to live in New York, now I live in Texas, and Wednesdays is just the day that I call my dad to catch up. So I'm gonna go call him, and when I'm done talking to him, I'll probably start this, and you guys will see that. I might read on my Kindle though, because I have it on my Kindle. So yeah, that is it. This is our first book. So my dad didn't want to talk to me. Well, he did, but he's busy, so we're just gonna get to reading this book. And I've changed into warmer clothes because it's chilly. I'm gonna be honest, I don't fucking ever read here. I read in my bed where it's comfy, but I'm being like aesthetic and cute instead of looking like a crazy person. Oh yeah. But this book, I read the first chapter. I just embossed the page. You can tell that I'm gonna like it. Well, I emboss them even if I don't, because honestly, I think it's so fun when I get a book from a little free library and somebody has like a note in it or their name, just like knowing it came from somebody else. But it just says from the Library of Hannah's Pages. That's me. I read the first chapter. I'm honestly not comfortable sitting here, and I'm cold, so I want to not be here anymore, and I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go eat a snack. Fill in my planner from yesterday, maybe take some pictures of that because I'm behind on that. I haven't done everything. But we're just gonna take a little breaky poo from the book, but check the trigger warnings if you do pick up this book, because though I don't personally really have any trigger warnings, I could see this book being, even after one chapter, very, very triggering, because a lot of things mental health wise have happened. Okay, if you're catching my drift. So far so good. It's exactly what I wanted right now. I love me a sad book. So yeah, I'm gonna go figure out lunch, get myself something to drink, do some stuff around the house, and then get back to it. I'm a whole 3% into the book. So page 16. Says that it's, I don't understand the Kindle. Like, it says like on the Kindle it says it's 344 pages, probably because this is like a tall book. If I'm being honest, that's probably why. Because with the epilogue here, it's less than 300, so I think it's very feasible for me to finish today. Let's see what it says right now. It says 5.5 hours to finish the book. That's not accurate. It's because I was self-conscious of the fact that I'm being filmed while I'm reading this. So, but I'm gonna go figure out my life. Guys, it's 9:15 and I have not read any more today, but I am about to. When I called my dad this morning, he simply was too busy to talk to me. Rude. And then I played a game on my computer, Planet Zoo. If you know, you know. And then Chris and I played some, sorry, this flash is so bright. Chris and I played some games together, and we went on a little dinner date because I'm leaving tomorrow for a little trip. And then I did talk to my dad this evening, and I talked to my sister this evening, and it's just been busy. But it is now time to get back to Miss Adelaide and see how her journey got her to where she is. And yeah, that's going to be my evening. Watch this, read this for a bit. Chris will probably come in here within like the next hour. He'll probably read with me for a bit. And then just chillax. And then hopefully I'll finish it either tonight or tomorrow. We'll see. We shall see. We have got the cozy vibes. My wax warmer's glowing. And it's time to get back to the book, baby. I know this lighting is trash, but I'm LOLing because I watch a couple of UK booktubers and they always talk about when a book is based in the UK. I don't know if this author is from the UK, but recently somebody was talking about how like every book that she reads is based in the UK mentions Harry Potter as if it's the only thing about the UK. And I am like a diehard Harry Potter fan, as you can like literally see right here, but they've mentioned Harry Potter and we are 8% into the book. We are very much so gonna ignore like the state of me. I've been out of town for a couple of days and it's really hot outside, but I have finished Adelaide, as you saw from the bathroom clip from the hotel, but I ended up giving this book 5 stars. It was so So emotional. There was like a line here at the end. Yeah. And this is not like a spoiler, but I'm gonna read you the last line of the book. It said, "No, she doesn't know all of this just yet. All she knows is that she's alive and loved and breathing. She's here and everything is going to be okay." Oh, this book reminded me a lot of my sister because she's been like going through some things, and it made me so emotional. It was so good. Highly recommend, but check your trigger warnings because there's a lot of triggering topics in this book. So after that, I put up my next poll and went to sleep. Typically, for most of these, the books are like the same genre, not for this poll. These books could not be further from each other if they tried, but they were two books. One of the books I really wanted to read, and I needed something to put up with it, and there wasn't anything else in that category that I have physically at that time that was super exciting me. So I just picked a random book. And so the next poll was between Happy Place by Emily Henry and Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. So I have like the cool Walmart copy with like the handprint and like the sprayed edges. But for the emojis, for this one, I put a lobster because this takes place in Maine, and a like mended heart because from my understanding, this book is about a couple, Harriet and Wynn, and they were together for a really long time, have like this group of friends that goes on this trip to Maine every year. They have broken up, but they're not letting anybody know, and like they're kind of still in love with each other, and it's like finding their way back together, second chance romance situation. And then this book, what did I put for the emojis? Oh, I put a tombstone and a VHS tape because this book is about how these three siblings, two like sisters and a brother, Beth, Nicole, and Michael, their mom passes away, but a few years ago, their dad just simply went missing, and they're cleaning out her mom's house, and they find a bunch of like home videos. They watch one. They watch a couple of them, and then when they're watching one, like the video ends, and then like it's silence, and then it starts playing again, and in it, their dad is covered in blood, and they find like some information out. I'm currently while reading this. One thing I do love is that this is a Geneva Rose book, and the chapters are all really short. This is only like it's less than 300 pages in this book, and there's like 40 chapters, and they're all really short, which I love. Yes, I am on chapter 16 currently, so I've read about this much of the book currently at the time being, and I'm really liking it, flying through it. Probably gonna finish it today if I'm being honest with you, but this was the winner. So far for this video, we have this. And then after I finish this book, I will be honest, I will be taking a little break from the video because we do have, me and my bestie pal Andrea, we have a book club called the Bestie Book Club. It's on Fable, it's completely free. I'll try to remember to link it down below, but if I don't, comment and then I will share the link. It is about to be June, and our June book club pick is the new Christina Lauren book, the green one. I don't remember the name of it, but I will be reading that next. So, because I like to get that done in the beginning of the month. So, that'll be what's up next after this one, but so far, here are our reads for this video. Getting started.
Zebo traps use light to attract and trap flying insects with no odor and no mess. They work continuously, so you don't have to.
I'm here with Christopher.
Hello.
And it is like 11:45. We've been just, catching up from me being out of town. Now I'm going to continue on with reading Home is Where the Bodies Are. I'm 36% in. And Chris is also reading.
I'm reading Dune right now, and I'm 39% of the way through it.
So we'll see what we accomplish today. Let's see what Cindy the Kindy says. She says I have 2.5 hours left in the book, so I might not finish it today, but we will see. Okay, guys, it's a few days later. Sorry about the lighting. It's gloom and doom outside, but I finished the book club pick, which was The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. Book club is linked down below. It's the Bestie Book Club. Next month, I think we're going to be reading the new Ashley Poston book. So get excited. So we did our next poll, and since that was a romance that I read, we did another poll for thriller books. The first book that was on there was Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera, and this book I colored in red. Here's the graphic, and I put on this one the like two friends emoji, the knife emoji, and the microphone emoji, because from what I gather, this says, what if you thought you murdered your best friend? What if everybody thought so too? And what if the truth didn't really matter? So this is about this girl, Lucy, who everybody thinks killed her best friend, Savvy, because she was covered in her blood. And it's been years since that night. And Lucy has a huge hit true crime podcast, Listen for the Lie. And then a detective comes along to investigate Savvy's murder. And she's forced to return to the place she vowed never to step foot again. The truth is out there, if we just listen. So this is book one. The second book that I had on there was this one, which I have not really heard anything about. This was book of the month, so I feel like it's been like around the block. But I picked up this one at Half Price Books. And this one is called The One That Got Away with Murder by Trish Lundy. This one I put like a guy and a girl, like a couple kissing, a knife, and money bag emoji, because this one is about these two guys, Robbie and Trevor, and they are Richie Rich, and they have the kind of money that can like basically cover up anything that they do. And then both of their girlfriends end up dying. People think they may have like, you know, did them, but whatever. And then there's a new girl at school named Lauren, and she's never been a good girl. She has her own dark past. She starts a relationship with one of these guys, and then she stumbles across shocking evidence that just might implicate him. And with the danger closing in, Lauren doesn't know who to trust. And after a third death rocks the town, she must decide whether to end things with Robbie or risk becoming another cautionary tale. The One That Got Away with Murder is an edge-of-your-seat debut thriller about a teen who is forced to confront her past in order to catch a murderer before she ends up the next victim. This is YA, murder, thriller, mystery type book, and this was just regular thriller. And based on the poll, the winner is this one. Kind of sad. I was actually more wanting this one. This is the first time the book I wasn't rooting for won, but the other one will just go back on the bookshelf for a later date. Should I do a video after this one where I read all the books that lost? Like the opposite ones? That might be fun. Reading all the books that lost the polls. But this is the winner. Can you guys see it? Not really. Right here, I'm starting a stack of the books that I read for this video. I don't have the new Christina Lauren, but I'm going to be adding another red book to the stack. And yeah, I'll probably read. This book is only a little over 300 pages, so I'll probably read at least half of this today. I don't really have anything going on for the rest of the day, and it's only like 4:30, so this is the plan for the day. I'm going to get my little stampy stamper out. I actually don't know if I stamped these other books. I think Adelaide maybe stamped. Okay, it's not really like a stamp. I have the one that's like a embosser, where you put it underneath the bottom of the page, you squeeze down, and I'll show you. It like says from the Library of Hannah Sages, so get these books stamperooed if they're not. Adelaide is stamped. Cool. And then I'll stamp this one, because I don't think she is stamped either. So yeah, we'll do a non-thriller for the next video next book in this video will be from the non-thriller chunk of books, but here she is. Listen for the Lie, next up. I somehow look epically worse than in my last clip, but we're just gonna roll with that. I'm gonna be starting this book I match here in a moment. We are lit only by my wax warmer, but I do want to say, I did kind of describe it wrong. It's not Lucy's podcast. Basically, this guy, Ben, is doing a podcast. I just reread the synopsis. And he starts looking into the murder, and it makes her be like, okay, I gotta like revisit this, because she has no memory of what happened that night. But I also want to say, I'm not trying to be, I don't know, for some reason I don't want to like this book. You ever feel like that? Like you just look at a book and you're like, this book's ugly, I don't want to like it. But it is podcast based, but it's not mixed media, and I wish it was, like interviews and stuff. At least it's not appearing to be. Maybe it's an oversight on my end, and it will be, but I'm gonna go check on Chris, my husband, if you don't know. This glows in the dark? Since when? He is streaming, and this does not glow in the dark. And he is streaming right now. He's kind of loud even with all the doors closed, so I'm gonna see how late he plans on streaming for. If it's like for a while still, I may just put my noise canceling headphones on and read anyway. And if he's gonna be finishing soon, I might just like wait till he's done so that I can read in peace. Update, guys. I ended up reading about 60% of this book yesterday, and I'm very much liking it. But if you've read this book, do you feel like this book is literally whiplash? Like every other page, something crazy is happening? Enjoying it though. I'll probably finish it today, so it's exciting, and then come at you tomorrow with the next poll. I gotta figure out which 2 books we gonna do. Because what's gonna come after? Listen for the Lie. Definitely not another thriller. We're gonna switch to some other type of book next. Okay guys, I'm gonna be so very honest with you. The poll has not been completed for these next 2 books, but I have my hair and makeup done today, which is like not guaranteed really again for like a week. So I figured I would come on here. I do have the next poll up for these next 2 books, but we're supposed to have game night today, like I mentioned, but one of the people in our group is not feeling well, so I finished up the book that I was reading, but I've only had the poll up for like an hour and a half. And it's just simply doesn't have enough votes yet for me to really like definitively pick. But the next 2 books are very nothing. Oh, they're kind of both like magical, I guess. So the first one that I picked for the poll is In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. I've read one other book by her, which is One Italian Summer. Loved it. And my friend Kane really raved about this book, so I picked up a copy of it at Half Price Books for super duper cheap. The emojis I put on this one was a magical wand and a ring, because I'm gathering that this is about a gal named Dani, and she is like very into like having a plan, and her best friend Bella is more like whimsical and believes in fate. Dani gets engaged, and then she falls asleep one night and wakes up suddenly in a different apartment with a different ring on her finger and beside a very different man. And then Dani spends exactly 1 hour, 5 years in the future before she wakes up again into like the present time. So magical, marriage, that was the vibes. The next one is a fantasy book. It's a YA fantasy called 3 Dark Crowns by Kendare? I don't know, Blake. And this book, I put like the friends or sisters, whatever, they're in like the black outfits with like the bunny ears. I don't know, it's the best thing I can think of, and a crown. This is about 3 different sisters. There's triplets in every generation. On the island of Fenburn, a set of triplets is born. 3 queens, all heirs to the crown, and they each a possessor of a coveted magic. So it's about 3 sisters. Mirabella, she is an elemental. Catherine is a poisoner, and I don't know how to say the other one's name, is a naturalist, and basically they're fighting to become queen. So the sisters, there was no triplets, so I just did like the twins looking one, and a crown for 3 dark crowns, and then In 5 Years. So we will see. This one's significantly shorter. In 5 Years is only 250 pages, whereas 3 Dark Crowns is, which this is a series. If I like it, I'll pick up the other one. I think the next one is called something about a throne. 1 second. One Dark Throne. This book is almost 400 pages, 398. Like I low-key always rooting for the shorter one, but this is YA, so like the text is big, the margins are big. It should be pretty simple to read. So either way, I think I'll be happy. A switch of pace from the thrillers, but yeah, we'll see who wins. Next time I check in with you guys, we'll have a winner, and you'll know who I'm reading, what I'm reading. This one was the winner. Hello, friends. We are about to start technically book 4 for this video because I'm not counting the book club book as like really part of the video, but we are about to start In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. I just looked at the physical book and this book's only 250 pages. I would say I probably read like 80 pages an hour. That's like a little over 3 hours. It should take me at 7:30 right now, 7 to 8 to 9, 9 to 10. So I think I'm just going to put up the poll for the next book right now because might as well, since I will probably read all of this today. So next poll is I think I'm going to do 6 books in this video. So that's 2 more polls. Hopefully the video is not too short. Once I finish all of the books, I'm going to go through and do like, maybe have like a little spoiler portion, we'll see. And then if I do, I'll literally have it say like at the bottom of the screen spoiler the whole time, so you can like scroll through if you don't want to hear spoilers. And then I'll do like a ranking of the books. I think that will be fun. Yeah, but I think I'm gonna put up my next poll. And yeah, like I said, I think after this I'm gonna do a video that's like loser books, lowest voted books, least voted books. Of reading all of the other ones that did not win the polls, or yeah, I think that's what I'm planning on doing after this. So yeah, I'm gonna get started. Don't want to waste any time, but I'm gonna go get that poll set up. Okay guys, looking not cute, but I'm about to jump into bed and start reading No One Can Know. My Kindle did this really weird thing. Yesterday I was like reading my book and I was at like a really emotional part crying, and all of a sudden my whole Kindle screen went white and I had to restart it. Does that happen to you? Let me know. I'm gonna turn off the lights. I'll be nice and leave the lights on for a clip for you guys, and then I will turn them off. Okay. And I'm wearing my, I feel like in person, you can read it just fine. But in videos, because I got black on black, there we go. It says I read past my bedtime. Is my bedtime 9 o'clock? No, but I'm going to go read. On a walk, so if I'm like red in the face, that is why. But I am about to do more reading. I think it's like 5 o'clock. I did not get very far yesterday. I think I'm maybe 20%. Guess it's not too terrible. I read like 14% and then I couldn't sleep, so I read more. I don't know, 18%. I'm doing pretty bad, but my whole face, you can tell I'm like really tired. I did not sleep well last night. So I'm gonna get to doing some reading. We're back looking the worst we have yet for one of these videos. Chris and I just went for a walk and like it's so hot out. I feel like I got sunburned. But last night I finished No One Can Know by Kate Ellis Marshall, and I hated this book. I gave it 2 stars. I thought it was not good. It was boring. I was looking through reviews on Goodreads. It's like a 3.6. I gave it a 2. And everybody who gave this book like low ratings, all of them said how boring it was. And it was just like the same thing. Like, what happened? Let's like retell the same 3 parts of the story a million times and then barely even tell us. I finished this literally less than 24 hours ago and I've already forgotten everything about it. It was not good. I am going to be actually getting rid of this. I have a rule. So I hate the way this looks. There we go. I have a rule that I don't keep any books really. This is the only book in my collection, Twisted Games, that I rated a 2, or I think I might have given that book a 3. If a book is a 2 or less, it has to go. So she has to go. I gave the other book by this author a 3, and so I feel like Miss Kate Alice Marshall is not for me. I did not like it. And so the next poll, I'm kind of really devastated about which book won. I tried to cheat a little bit. I have my 2 other Instagrams besides my Plannahannah Instagram, and I went and voted for the other book. I had Chris go vote for the other book every time to like make it even, and then one more person would vote for the book that won. And so basically it won by 1 vote, and I'm sad about that, okay? So the first book that was a part of this poll was The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I did the emojis of a heart and a football because it's a football romance. From what I gathered, it's about these like boy-girl best friends, Bree and Nathan, and she has feelings for him and doesn't want to ruin their friendship. That was the vibes. I have read the When in Rome, and then Practice Makes Perfect, I think is the second one. Yeah, that book was good, but it was so annoying to me because like I obviously have tattoos, right? Like woohoo, and they just kept saying he was like so bad because he has tattoos, and I'm just like whatever. Anywho, this was the first book, and then the second book that was on the poll is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Why are her books so big? We're gonna find out because this is the one that won. I didn't want to read it because it's literally like a brick. I'm glad to be getting it off the list though, I guess. I already feel like I'm not gonna want to read the other books in the series because I've heard like the second book is not good and the third book is the best book, but you have to get through the second book. I don't know. They're interconnected standalones. We're gonna give it a try. It's very cute. It's just like, I feel like for a plain romance book, for it to be almost 600 pages is wild. But for this one, I did a heart and a bride emoji because it says, Knox Morgan doesn't tolerate drama, especially from a stranded runaway bride. It's about a girl named Naomi, and she's a runaway bride. That's pretty much all I gathered. Naomi has a twin named Tina, I guess, who lives in Knockham Ow, a rough around the edges town where disputes are settled the old-fashioned way with fists and beer. Too bad for Naomi, her evil twin hasn't changed at all. After helping herself to Naomi's car and cash, Tina leaves behind something unexpected. The niece Naomi didn't know she had. Now she's the guardian of 11-year-old going on 30. I don't really like kids in books, so we'll see how that goes. There's a reason this bearded bad boy barber doesn't get involved with high-maintenance women, especially not type A romantic ones, but since Naomi's life imploded right in front of him, the least Knox can do is help her out of a jam. I already feel like Knox is such like a try-hard romance book name. I'm trying to be optimistic, but like, I had a feeling I was gonna hate this book, and I did. I'm gonna be keeping it up here till we get to the end of this video, but it's definitely not staying in my life, I can already tell. But yeah, so we're gonna read this one, which I was hoping didn't win. It just feels so heavy. It's like literally double the length of the cheat sheet. Put her back on there. Like I said, I do think I am gonna be filming, like reading the books that lost, but so I guess I was gonna be reading this soon either way. So I'm trying to look at it as, I'm pretty sure this is the biggest, longest book on my physical TBR. So we're getting her out of the way. So that's good. That's great. That's wonderful. It's like 5 o'clock. Oh, 5:30. I don't know. I finished working around 5:10, I guess. Chris and I went for a walk. And now here we are. We'll get to reading here shortly. I'm not making dinner tonight. It's going to be a fend for yourself night. So we'll have plenty of time to, I'm hoping to read like half of this today. One thing I am vibing with this book is the chapters have titles, and I feel like that is rare these days. I feel like books don't tend to have titles on their chapters, like chapter 1, worst day ever, Naomi. Is this also multi-POV? Do we get Knox's point of view? Naomi. Knox, yeah. There's kind of like letters in here too, so maybe it'll be fun. I do think it'll be an easy read though, because it is strictly romance, not romantasy, not like sci-fi or anything. It's just straight romance. So though it is a brick, it's really cute though. Hopefully it won't be too much. Okay guys, just popped my banana bread in the oven, I'm gonna get started on this book, but I also wanted to let you know that I'm obviously gonna read it on my Kindle, but my page turner just died yesterday, like battery died, had to charge it for the first time since I got it in February. It's June. That's how long the battery lasted, so that's wild. Also had to charge my Kindle yesterday for the first time in like a month, but we're gonna get started on the things we left behind. Is that what this is called? Things we never got over. Whatever. Let's get to her. I like how sassy Naomi is so far, but I'm already getting the ick from Knox because he grabbed her arm and she said to fucking let go of her, and he said, only if you stop walking away from me. If somebody tells you to stop touching them, you stop touching them. Period. So I think that's icky, but chapter 1 of like 40 something is done. I'm a whole 3% into the book. And yeah, I have, I think, like 15 minutes left of my banana bread. I'm starting to get a little peckish, so I might heat up some spaghetti whenever that's done. And yeah, probably just gonna read this all evening, but you guys are on my Kindle arm currently, so I'm gonna put the Kindle on there and put my page clicker in so I can be more cozy. Well, I'm 11% in, but I'm taking a break, so I'm gonna take a shower and wash my hair. And currently, I still think, I'm guessing this is going to be like, honestly at this point it seems like a grumpy trope, but he's like too grumpy for my liking. And what the fuck kind of name is Waylay? Driving me bonkers. I don't classify this as a spoiler, but this line, don't ever let a man you don't like make decisions for you. Facts on facts on facts. Y'all, you're telling me this man is 40 and he's acting this way? I cannot. Guys, we're gonna get back into things we never got over. I ended up getting to 48% last night, which, let me grab my physical book and then we can look and see like how far that is. We're on chapter 25 called Family Fuss. Let's look at the physical book. It's about halfway, so I know like where to kind of go. Okay. I read this much of the book yesterday. So that's great because literally most books that I read this week were this long total. So I should be able to finish it today, thankfully. I am actually liking it. I was being a hater, I will admit. I do still think that the names are very, very, very try-hard and annoying, but overall I am enjoying it. I'm like starving to death, but Chris just went to the gym. I'm gonna make dinner afterwards, but I think to distract me, until it's dinner time, I'm gonna read a bit. Drink some water. Where's my water? But I am quite liking it thus far. I do think it is kind of drawn out, and I am liking the niece. She's not like a little kid. She's like 11 or 12 or something, so the parts with her are sweet. So far, enjoying it, but also I guess I'll have to see who the other books are about to see if I care to read them. I'm gonna go check that out now. I know that like the third one's apparently about somebody named Sloane, but I think as of right now in the book I haven't met Sloane. So maybe you meet Sloane in book 2. I don't know, but we will see. One is the librarian. I knew it was familiar, but I do think, now that I'm like halfway through this book, it is getting quite repetitive, and I'm definitely just skipping over the spicy scenes because I'm not a spicy loving gal, but that's just a personal thing. So I just be clicking the Kindle through them, but wanted to update that I figured out who Sloane was. Okay, guys, we did it. We finished Things. There we go. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I somehow managed to read the 600-page book in 2 days. So, thoughts overall on this one before we get into like spoiler bits, bobs, ranking, all the things. I did really like it, but I do think it could have been like 400 pages. There were some parts that I thought were like kind of redundant and annoying, and storylines I didn't quite love because there's a lot of storylines going on in here, but I did quite enjoy the book, and I ended up giving it a 4.5 stars. And I'm like so torn. If you've read the series, let me know, because I know everybody hates the second book and then likes the third book, but like I don't have the type of personality where I can just skip the second book, so like I would have to read the second one before I read the third one. And that's where I'm at. But these are the books that we read. I read these books, plus then like in my own time I read a graphic novel and my book for book club, but in 2 weeks, I think that 1, 2, 3, 6, 8 books in 2 weeks, I think is pretty good. But we're going to get into some spoilers now. Well, actually, I'll do my ranking, and then if you don't want spoilers, you can just leave. But I would say that my least favorite book that I read this entire time was No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. I am going to be getting rid of this book. It is not going to live at my house. My second least favorite, but it's still a 3, is gonna be Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. I just guessed the twist too early in that one. Next up, I would say In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. This book was really cute, really emotional. I did really enjoy it. And then the top 3, this one came as a shock to me. It is Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. And then my Resend. This is probably number 4, is Things We Never Got Over. Then Listen for the Lie is my second favorite book. Then my favorite book that I read is gonna be Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler. So now we'll get into the spoiler portion. Okay, let's get into the spoilers if you've read these books. First, we'll go through Adelaide. This book was just so emotional. It's about a girl named Adelaide, and basically you start out the book with her being in the hospital for trying to unalive herself, and then you basically are going back in time to see what led her there, and what led her there was just a series of things: life, her job, everything, all coming back down to a guy named Rory, I believe, who was just basically like the definition of like a manipulating, gaslighting asshole. Basically, anytime she wanted to talk to him, he would just ignore her, and then if she didn't answer him in 1 second, he'd be like, "Why are you ignoring me?" Blah, 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 blah. He would ignore her for days on end, then all of a sudden be at her beck and call and try to woo her. And he was just constantly breaking her heart. But there was one part in this book that really like got me in the core. Like Adelaide had this whole like life philosophy that everybody you meet like comes into your life like because that's what you need at that time, or something to that effect. And she's in therapy, and her therapist, who she's only going to see very sporadically, but her therapist says to her, like as she's going through the story no, actually, she's seeing her therapist after she gets out of the hospital, not before. That, like, you know what, Adelaide, maybe your theory's not wrong. Maybe you were what he needed at that time, because she helped him grow and become a better person. But it was overall just, like, so emotional. And if you can handle talks of, like, suicide ideation, that type of stuff, then I do suggest this book. It was really, really good. My second favorite was Listen for the Lie. You know, you gotta do the looking up to see the characters' names, because I never remember. Oh, yes, it was so good. So it's about this girl, Lucy, and she is basically has been, like, accused of killing her best friend, Savvy, and she moved out of town, has a boyfriend, whatever. And then her grandmother asks her to come back into town, which she hasn't been there since she left town, to celebrate her birthday. And she's like, her and her grandma are, like, thick as thieves. And she's like, you can't say no to me. I haven't seen you in years, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, whatever, I'll come into town. And as this is happening, there is this dude, Ben, and he is a podcaster, and he is doing, like, he's a true crime podcaster, like, series on the, like, murdering of Savvy and what happened, interviewing people, whatever. And everybody blames Lucy. And so as this is happening, that comes out, like, the first part of the podcast, and her boss at work hears about it, and she loses her job. And so now she's just really going through it. So she goes back home, and eventually her grandma really likes the podcaster dude. Her grandma and the podcaster work together to get Lucy to talk to the podcaster. And you're going through all these different things. There are, like, clips from the podcast of, like, everybody he's interviewing in their lives. And as you're going through it, you're, like, meeting these people. And I had, like, 15 different, like, suspicions. And then one of the suspicions that it was the bad guy ended up being her, like, guy best friend, Ethan. And, like, I had a slight feeling about it, because he just seemed, like, really over the top. But then he tries to kill Lucy, and it was, like, a whole thing. And it was wild. And the thriller I had read prior to this, I, like, guessed so early on. I think I was just so excited for something to be that twisty. Then we have Things We Never Got Over, this literally feels like I'm holding a brick, by Lucy Score. Again, I think this was about 200 pages too long. And I had mentioned not thinking I was going to like the kid aspect, but I did actually really like it. So basically, in this book, Naomi is really going through it. She's a runaway bride, and you find out later that the reason she ran away is because her fiance was, like, starting to, like, physically harm her. He slapped her across the face. He, like, grabbed her by her hair, like, a bunch of random things that obviously warranted leaving his dumb ass. But, so she ran away, and while she was running away, she gets a text from her estranged identical twin sister, who is a piece of shit loser, basically, according to everybody. And she's like, I really need your help, blah, 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 blah. So she goes to Knockemout, Virginia, which, that part, I don't know if that's a real place, but, like, their reasoning for it being called that is because they solve things with their fists. Cringe. But she goes there, and her sister says to meet her at this cafe, and she goes to the cafe, and everybody's like, what are you doing here? You're not allowed. And, like, her pictures on the wall of, like, don't serve this customer. Turns out it's her twin sister. They, like, solve that, and then whatever, she and this guy, Knox, stupidest name, go to walk outside, and, like, they're fighting because he was rude to her about being in the coffee shop. And then she's like, oh my god, my car got stolen. So then he takes her to her motel room was broken into, and basically, long story short, her stupid sister stole her car, broke into her apartment or her motel, stole all of her things, and left her 11-year-old daughter, whose name was Waylay. I don't get it. There. Another thing I thought was really annoying is, like, Knox is a dog named Waylon, and then, like, the niece's name is Waylay, and they, like, make jokes about, oh, that's gonna be confusing, but, like, as a reader, it was confusing. Obviously, Knox and Naomi end up getting together, but, like, Naomi's like, oh my god, like, this pillow smells weird, and he's like, oh, that's because that's Waylon's side of the bed, and I'm sitting here like, what do you mean it's this 11-year-old side of the bed? But no, Waylon's the dog. So it did get a little bit confusing for me. Maybe I'm just dumb, but it did get confusing. And basically, like, he, like, thinks she's hot, but she's, like, high maintenance, and he doesn't want to be with her, you know, the typical, because he's, like, such a bad boy. eventually they start hooking up, and then he breaks it off because it just scares too much. The same old, you know how romances go. There's a bit of fake dating in here. And then the part of the storyline that I really ended up thinking was so annoying, in my opinion, was like Knox's brother Nash gets shot and they're trying to figure out who did it, and then Waylay gets kidnapped, and it's by like Tina, the identical sister. She gets kidnapped by her and her boyfriend, and like this weird, like almost like a mystery thriller part. I would just have preferred it to just stick with the romance and they lived happily ever after, which they did. And there was a couple of parts at the end that literally had me like almost crying. Where was it? So it was Waylay's birthday party, and basically they had talked, and like Naomi was fighting this whole time also to get custody of Waylay. And oh, here's my Kindle. I highlighted it. I'm like sitting here like, oh, this is gonna take me a minute. Let's find her. Things we never got over. Doot. We'll click on her. Click. And then I will go to, no. There was a couple of really great lines. One of them was demanding your own needs to be met isn't problematic. It's heroic and honestly iconic. Iconic. Okay, so basically it is Waylay's birthday party and they're celebrating and whatever. And Naomi says, don't forget to make a wish, honey. And like, was it this part? Basically her sister was in jail and she signed over her rights so that Naomi could just have Waylay, and that happens, and then she's like, don't forget to make a wish, honey, as Waylay's blowing out her birthday cake, and she grinned up and said, don't God, I already got everything I wanted. So emo, so good, loved it. I should have just had I don't think I really highlighted a whole much in those other books. But there's some pretty good quotes in some of these books. Excuse me. In 5. Nope. Okay, so that's basically everything about this book. I do really recommend. And then next one we're gonna go into the deets of the details is this one. This book feels so floppy and small in comparison, but I only highlighted 2 things. So we'll go over those. But this is In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. And you're in this book, it's about Danny, and her life is like all about the plan. She has a plan for absolutely everything. And basically she is engaged to this guy, and I forget his name, obviously. And basically they get engaged, and they end up being engaged they get engaged, and then she has this dream about waking up like in another apartment with a ring on her finger, some guy she doesn't know, whatever. And then her and her boyfriend get engaged, and she spends the next like years and years like trying to figure out who that guy is, what's gonna happen, blah blah blah. And they're like postponing their wedding again and again and again because things just keep coming up. But really, she's avoiding getting married because deep down she knows he ain't the one. If you know, you know. And so basically her best friend Bella starts dating this guy, and they meet, and she's like, oh my god, that's the guy from the dream. And so like she's kind of being mean to him and distant because she doesn't want like that to come true. She's like, oh my god, I can't sleep with my best friend's boyfriend, like that's horrible. So the story keeps going, and as it keeps going, basically Bella ends up like not like getting pregnant, and then she goes to the hospital or the doctor or whatever to check on the baby, like it's her doctor's appointment day or whatever. And this whole time Danny's like, oh my god, I'm gonna somehow in the next like year sleep with my best friend's baby daddy, like this is horrible, what's going on? And then she gets a call from, I forget his name, the guy, and it's not David. David is the boyfriend. She says, why do you call him that? I know that because it's like his real name, but he like goes by a nickname. Aaron, I think is his name. But she gets a call from Aaron and it's like, hey, like she's not pregnant. She actually has ovarian cancer. And I literally said that, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna die. And like I'm literally getting, I don't know if you can see, I'm getting chills thinking about it. But then basically it becomes a story about friendship and how her best friend, who's been her rock and her lifeline through everything, is essentially going to die. It is so sad. The two things that I highlighted, basically the main character Danny is talking to Bella about how like she wishes she could have a love like Bella and Aaron have, and she's like, well, you can. And she's like, well, I just like don't love like that, like I can't love like that way, blah 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 blah. And then Bella says to her, but you are. I wish you knew that. I wish you understood that you could have love beyond your wildest dreams, stuff movies are made of. You're meant for it. And then Danny says, I don't think I am. And Bella says, you are. You know how I know? Because that's the way you love me. Literally so like covered in chills right now because it's so emotional. And then literally 15 pages later, it's basically Bella doesn't want to keep fighting the cancer. Like they've done everything they could and it's just spreading, and she's like, I'm just done, like I just want to go home, blah 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 blah. They're talking about how like she doesn't know how she's gonna like get through it like without her best friend. And she says, it feels like a tornado raging in my soul. It feels like I might not survive it. And she says, you will, she tells me, because you already have. So emo, but basically she ends up, the whole time while she's sick, Bella's like filthy rich, renovating an apartment for her best friend Danny, because Bella just knows that like this relationship sucks. And she does actually like tell Danny, like, you and David need to break up, you're not meant for each other, like I don't have time to pretend anymore. And she ends up buying and renovating her a beautiful new apartment, and that's where she woke up, and she woke up with Bella's ring on her finger. And so emotional, so sad. Then next we have this one, which it's so pretty. I'm so sad I didn't love it. But basically this is about a set of 3 siblings. It goes into all of their points of view, I believe. Yeah, Michael, Nicole, and Beth. And their mom dies, and basically their dad had left like years and years and years ago, and nobody knew why. He just kind of like up and left in the middle of the night. And as they're cleaning out their mom's house, they find a VHS tape and they put it in. It's like family videos that they're watching, and then they come across something they shouldn't see, which is basically their mom and dad covering up the dead body of the neighbor's daughter, who has been missing all this time. They never found her body. And it's like this whole thing. I'm gonna tell you at 18%, because both of the sisters are like, oh my god, like, should we tell, should we not tell, what should we do? The brother was straight up like, no, like, let's not tell anybody, like, it's not gonna like make them feel any better. And from that moment I was like, it was the brother. And guess what? It was the brother. And guess what else the brother did? Killed the dad. And the mom hid that too. Basically, she left Beth like a key to her safety deposit box, and in her safety deposit box was the truth of what happened. And the brother goes to jail. And like, if I didn't guess the twist, it would have been really good. So that's why it was still a 3. This book, couldn't even tell you what this was about. Oh yeah, no one can know. This was about some gal who, like, her and her 3 sisters, like, their parents were murdered, and they had gotten their house, but then they like didn't stay there. But Emma loses her job, or Emma discovers she's pregnant, her husband loses her job, and they have to go move into the house. And it's basically uncovering what actually happened, who killed who. It was one of the sisters who did it, the youngest one, Daphne. But then in the epilogue, like, the main character Emma is like letting Daphne play with her baby and like whatever, even though she straight killed her parents. It was all so dumb, and everything was like just so repetitive. This could have literally been like a 30-page book and we would have had the story. But that is everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it to the end, if you've read any of these books, let me know your thoughts and feelings. And I will most definitely be filming more of these videos. I think, like I said, I am going to be filming a reading the losing books video. But that's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!